Telling our stories is the connective tissue of the collective human experience. The Just Keep Talking podcast delves into the lives and stories of artists. What is the impact of mental health on creativity? What does it mean to be a creative individual? Someone who feels deeply, experiences joy and pain intensely, and navigates the challenges of life through the creative process. With each story shared, we explore the authentic experience of our basic need to be seen, to be heard, and to belong. We're really not so different from one another, nor are we alone. Together, we can inspire, encourage, and enlighten each other to find the true joy and fulfillment that is within ourselves. When we just keep talking, we create the space for gratitude, self-acceptance, and grace in everyday life. In a world filled with divisiveness, fostering inclusivity and connection is a powerful way to make a positive impact. The Just Keep Talking podcast with me, Brother Love, because your story matters.
Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. All of us under its spell, we probably know that it's magic. Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me.
Hello and welcome to the Just Keep Talking podcast with me, your host, Brother Love. Your story matters. I'm thrilled to be here with Rosemary Fossee. Hello, Rosemary.
Hi, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Rosemary Fossee is a Nashville-based actor and singer with a love for the 1950s and the 60s, with a penchant for highly stylized projects. You are a musical theater actor, a vocalist, a vintage fiend. Voted Best Supporting Actor in a Musical by New York Music Theater Fest. I know what that is. That's awesome. You recently sang background vocals on a Norwegian Grammy-nominated album, Goodbye Yellow Roses, produced by Brett Stewart at Wirebird Productions. Is that your husband?
It is.
Great. Let's start there. Hello. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Oh, I'm fine. You came into my world because of the Instagram.
Yes.
I was just scrolling, and then one day there was this person that I didn't know, but that is friends with a lot of the same friends that I have, Anana K being one of them, who was just a guest on this show. And you were just singing. That's all you were doing. You were singing Rainbow Connection.
Yes.
And it melted my heart into a billion pieces, and I am so grateful.
Well, thank you
For that.
Thank you for saying that. I posted that song originally as a gift to my mom for one of her birthday presents a couple years ago. It's always been a favorite of hers. And I was gifted my grandmother's banjo and decided to learn that song for her. And I was like, you know what? Other people would enjoy hearing this song. I think there's a lot of music that gets put in a corner because it's considered children's music or juvenile. And the reality is that all the things that are written for children were written by adults for adults to hear too.
Right.
And we still need to hear them. And I think that Rainbow Connection is one of those songs.
Yeah.
And I actually end up doing that song during my gig at Skulls.
Right.
I close my set with that song, and inevitably a handful of people are crying.
Yeah.
And I think it hits people in a way that they aren't anticipating.
Yeah.
To have someone who's an adult singing this song to them that a puppet frog has always been singing to them. I think there's a lot of valuable art in our world that we've been told is too small, too silly, too young.
Right.
And really, we still need it.
We still need it. Yeah. And that's why I instantly followed you, and I went down the rabbit hole. You sing at Skulls here in Nashville.
I do.
And you sing the Great American Songbook.
I do.
In addition to, go ahead.
Yeah, in addition to some musical theater tunes and some pop covers that we've tried to make a little bit jazzy. I mean, that room is built with the intent of it being a jazz show.
Yeah.
But I think if we're really honest with ourselves, people that are there are not just looking for that. They're also looking to hear songs that they know, songs that they can sing along to. And it's a fun gig because you get to do a little bit of everything. As long as it is, I think, true to the room. Right. Which is a room that is built for entertaining.
Yeah.
Right? Like that is an entertaining space. It's not Rudy's.
Right.
There's a big difference between the two, I think. And, I love both of them. I love Rudy's, and I think Skulls is the place where you go to see an entertainer. And I think that's really cool. I think we don't have that many spaces like that left.
That's true.
Where you can really see someone put on a show.
Yeah. I mean, and you're steps away from Lower Broadway.
Yes.
Now, and I will sit in and play drums and percussion or a cajon or whatever it is on Lower Broadway, which is just a block away from where you do your thing at Skulls. And it's insane. It's a lot of drinking people. I play the earlier day sets, which is perfect for me, so people aren't hammered out of their minds and they can actually enjoy some of the music and some of the banter. And we do put on a little bit of a show as far as we are just communicating just with the audience, you know, and people aren't so hammered that they can actually tip. Which is a nice, that's a nice thing.
Yeah.
But I've seen some of the performances at Skulls, and it is, you really are playing to a wonderful audience, a wonderful crowd, and you have a great band. What does your band consist of usually? Is it a steady band at Skulls that you use?
Yeah, we have kind of a rotating band. I play with a handful of the same guys. The main people I play with are John Palmer and Jay Verne. Those are the two pianists I play with most. And we have a really incredible, I would say, group of bands, plural, because anyone can play with anyone.
Right.
And it's a real gift to have that many musicians who can sub in at the drop of a hat and play everything.
Yeah.
It's easy to get spoiled.
Oh my
Having
goodness.
that many people at your disposal who can pop in and play a show, and it's wonderful.
Yeah.
And today's a perfect example. Brett is running a session and had an emergency. They say there's no musical emergencies, but sometimes there are.
Right.
And he needed someone to pop in on a session, and I was like, you should get one of the guys from Skulls.
Yeah.
Like, they're great in an emergency.
Yeah.
And I think it's a real testament too to Laura Mayo, who's a dear friend of mine who books the bands there, and she's just managed to pull together a really, really talented pool of people who are so sweet and kind and wonderful to work with, but also so incredibly talented and can really do anything.
Yeah.
And it makes working there very easy.
Yeah.
I mean, aside from the fact that it's just a very cool place to be historically, and it's very important to Nashville history, and that is valuable to me. I mean, everything about working there is just really, really great. I'm very thankful for it. But getting to play with those guys every night, it's like, okay, I don't know exactly what we're doing tonight. I don't know exactly who I'm playing with. Someone might have subbed out, but it's going to be a great show.
Yeah. I don't know if people know this, and I found this out. I mean, I've been now in Nashville 16, 17 years. You are born and raised.
Yes.
So Printer's Alley was like the Lower Broadway.
It was.
That was the hot spot.
It was.
Andrew Jackson had his inaugural ball, I believe, was there. It has been the spot where people just congregated for a really good time.
It has. And I think Printer's Alley as a street, as a location, has had a varied reputation throughout time about who exactly is hanging out down there and how appropriate it feels.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun to get to go to work in a place that has such a unique history. I mean, that building specifically. Everybody in Nashville is obsessed with that place right now because, you know, Shulman passed away in the building, but he's not the first person to pass away in the building. There was another owner of the upper portion of that building who also passed away in that building. And so there's like a lot of ghost lore interest around that space right now. We don't have that many spaces left in Nashville that are still even the Nashville I grew up with, much less the Nashville my mom grew up with or my grandmother.
Yeah.
And so it's not lost on me how special it is that the floor that I'm standing on to sing is the floor that was built for that space.
Yeah.
It's very easy for people to move to town and be like, this doesn't look like I want it to look. I'm going to change it. It hurts. And like, that's the bowling alley I bowled at as a child. That's the bakery I went to for every birthday.
Yeah.
And now it's a clothing store. And now it's a restaurant. And that happens for everyone in every town. But I think there aren't that many people, or maybe there are, that stay in the town they grew up in. And then, you know, choose to raise their family there and have to watch it get completely gutted. Over and over.
Over and over is right.
So then having a space that stays becomes even more valuable. And obviously I wasn't at Skulls as a child. It wasn't open then, you know, even if it had been open, like, I don't know that I would have found myself there, but I was downtown, you know, I was at TPAC. I was going to see the Nutcracker with my parents or like, so it's cool to me that it has remained, you know, largely the same.
And it's a real throwback feel there because I'm a New Yorker. I was born and raised in New York, and I spent most of my adult life in the East Village. So I was a New Yorker from New York living in New York.
Yes.
you're a Nashvilleian living in Nashville. So I would get that same kind of deal where it's like, wow, these are the things that I've known my whole life, and now it's gone, and now it's gone, and now it's gone. And you say the same, it'll never happen here, it'll never happen here, and then it just does. But when I came into Skulls a million years ago, I was like, this is the New York that I love.
Yeah.
And it's here in Nashville.
Yeah.
And it's got this whole throwback vibe. You have a whole throwback vibe.
Yeah.
Now, where does that come from? Because I know that you write and you record some of your own stuff that's singer-songwriter, indie rock stuff. I've heard some things, and it's fabulous.
Thank you.
Yeah, really great stuff. And then I know you as somebody who's more vintage.
Yeah.
You're theatrical. You bring together in a very communal way, which is so important to me, and I hope to everybody, keeping community thriving through connection, is that you bring jazz and you bring American popular music and you bring theater music and you bring you. Yeah. And you are from Nashville. You know, you're not from New York. You're not from France or Paris.
Yeah.
How did you get to be in the space of understanding the importance of things that are yesteryear?
Well, I think I was raised in a household that felt very throwback.
Really?
For lack of a better way to put it. My grandmother and my mom both hold what I would say are very traditional women's roles, or have held, and taught me how to do things that are potentially considered kind of taboo now. Like, I can sew, I can cook, I can make a cake from scratch. I was basically taught how to be a 1950s housewife. As a kid.
Yeah.
And that's not a negative in my opinion.
Right.
I think that being an equipped person to go into the world and be able to hem a pair of pants and also make a sauce from scratch is a real gift.
Yeah.
Especially in a world where I'm finding that like most of my friends are not able to do those things.
Yeah.
And so I end up being the sew on a button friend.
Yeah.
Or the friend that owns a sewing machine.
Yeah.
And I think I've teetered, or I did teeter for a minute in my 20s where I was like, oh, why do I know all these things? And then I was like, hold on, these are a gift.
Yeah.
But it was through those skills and that exposure I started to really appreciate other things that were, you know, important to my grandmother and important to my mom, whether it was like the music they were listening to. Like I spent more time with them than with anyone else, right? And so like, of course, we all do. We spend more time with our families, and their interests really determine what we have exposure to, at least.
Yeah.
And so through, you know, cooking with my mom and my grandmother and listening to music, or like sewing with my grandmother on Sundays, and she would have the TV on and it was always an old movie.
Right.
And so the exposure that I had was to things that were interesting to my grandparents, ultimately, like musicals from the 60s, The Wiz, the Steve Miller Band.
Yeah.
And old jazz records and cassettes of like 50s mixtapes, basically.
Yeah.
Like best of the 50s.
Yeah.
Like that's what I grew up listening to. And obviously I'm we're streaming music as a child generation.
Right.
So I was given a cassette player as a kid, and the cassettes I had access to were jazz and 50s tunes.
Wow.
So that's what I learned. I remember just singing with my mom in the car, and like singing with my grandmother, and she played the piano, and it was just very...
What did you sing?
Diana Krall.
Really?
Like, should an 8-year-old be singing Popsicle Toes? Probably not, but I didn't know what it meant. You know, like we were just belting it out in the car, always.
Yeah.
And I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah.
In hindsight, like they gave me exposure to really good music.
Yeah.
And now having a kid, I'm like, this is an opportunity.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to like keep him from liking what he likes, but it's an opportunity to like taste make for him and be like, this is really quality music.
Yeah.
So if you like it, and if you don't like it, that's fine. We'll find something else that you do. But if you do like it, like, please, there's so much more. Enjoy it.
What a community that you've been raised in.
Oh, yeah.
And I just curious, can you remember the first time you felt and you were aware of the feeling of being very safe and secure?
So I went to a K through 12 school that my cousin went to too, and he's 6 years older than me. So he was in like musicals and productions that we were getting to go see at school.
Right.
And I remember being in second grade, so I was 8? And they did a production of Guys and Dolls. And I remember sitting in the audience with my mom. I even remember what I was wearing. Like, that's how significant.
What were you wearing?
I was wearing a spaghetti strap tank top, which was a huge deal as an 8-year-old.
Right.
I had to wear a sweater over it.
Of course.
I remember being like, I'm wearing a tank top.
What color was it?
It was pink. And I was like so excited because I felt really cool. And I was at this show that my cousin was in. Anyway, So I remember sitting, watching Guys and Dolls, and there's a harmony at the end of Marry the Man Today. And I remember hearing that harmony sung by high school students and getting full body chills.
Wow.
Full body chills. And being like, this is for me.
Really?
This is for me.
That was the moment.
That was the moment. And I remember...
Did you know what this was?
I know. There's the feeling that hearing those two notes sung together, because it's a very, for lack of a better word, or a word I use a lot, crunchy. It's a very crunchy harmony. It's like slightly dissonant. And it just felt really cool in my body. And I remember being like, I love this. I loved it so much. That show ran for one weekend because it's high school. I asked to see it again.
Wow.
And I went back with my aunt because I wanted to hear that harmony again. And I remember, like, once I felt that feeling, I felt very suddenly like, there's a place for me.
Wow.
Like, there's a spot for me to do something I love. And I was already singing in choir or like singing at school or doing, vacation Bible school plays or whatever. But the feeling that it gave me in my body and knowing fully, like, there is no way I'm ever going to feel this way with anything else.
Yeah.
And I felt, to your question, I felt like safe in that experience and safe in that knowing, and knowing that, like, I could feel that and nobody could take it away from me.
That's amazing.
And I could make that myself too.
Did you know you could make it yourself?
I did, only because I was spending so much time singing in the car with my mom, or like, I had access to music, and I had access to, at whatever level an 8-year-old can. Like, if I asked to listen to something, it was always a yes. It was never like, no, why would we listen to music? Or like, oh, you want to watch a musical? We're not doing that.
Right.
It was always like, oh, you like this? Okay, we'll try it.
That's great.
Like, I remember watching Oklahoma as a really tiny kid, and every time my parents would be like, okay, here's the scary dream ballet. We're going to fast forward so you don't have nightmares, but we can watch the rest. That was like the moment for me of like, that is what I'm after, that feeling.
Wow.
And I've spent, 30 plus years of my life hunting that feeling.
Yeah.
And it happens. It wasn't a one-off, you know what I mean?
That's
it's
so
like,
great.
There's so much of childhood that we don't remember. There's no photo of that day. There's no other record of that day. And that's how I'm like, that's one of the earliest memories I've really got on lockdown. It was like, oh.
That's so cool.
It took my breath away.
Yeah. I remember being a kid, and I grew up in a household where, like, my parents fought a lot, divorced, and there was a little window of time when aunts and cousins and everybody was there.
Yeah.
And a lot of booze flowing for the adult men,
Sure.
Which would end up horribly, terribly wrong.
Yeah.
But there was this little moment in time that we were listening to the Beatles, and I had all of my cousins, and I was on the younger end of that side of the family. This is my mother's side of the family. So my brother, my sister, and I were like the youngest 3 cousins of older cousins, and everybody was in the den, I guess we had it. We were listening to the Beatles. We were listening to like Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds or something, and Harmony. There was so much, so much harmony. Yeah. And it was the sweetest time that I could ever remember. And I didn't know if I would ever feel that again. Yeah. I'm so happy to hear you. You were like, this is what I'm after. Like, that didn't happen to me until later. Like, I didn't know if I'd ever feel that again. And I don't even know to this day if I've felt that safe and comfortable ever.
Sure.
I just don't.
Yeah.
But I do remember, like, a year and a half later, going to camp. See, I'm a Jewish kid from New York. We all were sent to sleepaway camp because our parents wanted to get rid of us, but also because my parents were fighting like crazy. And so it was another way for my mother to be like, you son of a are going to spend X amount of dollars to send these kids to camp, and that's that. And you guys are going to have fun. I'm like, oh, I'm so scared. I got to go
have fun, I swear.
Yeah, I see, right. But we did. And it was the first time that I ever heard this noise, this joyful noise of a guy playing the drums. I was coming back from like dodgeball, getting my ass beat in dodgeball because I'm a medium to smaller size human being. And I was always on the smaller size. And I just remembered, like, I heard this sound and I was like, what is this? Because it wasn't like a music camp at all. It was just camp, this is sports stuff and maybe some theater stuff, maybe. And I ran to the noise and I got to the bottom of this hill. And at the top of the hill, there was this guy playing the drums. And I thought,
outside?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Outside, just rocking out. And I was like, what is going on? And it turns out it was this band and they had a performance that night and they were going to play a song and they were rehearsing in the basement of the main house. And I literally I'm like 9 years old. And I told my counselor, like, clear my afternoon.
Like it's an assistant.
Like, I didn't learn to swim, by the way, because because of this kind of stuff. Yeah. I was like, I'm not going to swimming, baseball, or dodgeball. I'm out. I'm going to go hang out with this band. And they played one song over and over and over and over until they got it right. And it was Smoke on the Water by Deep Purple.
Man.
Those three chords, bam, 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 bam. I was like, whoa. And that's when I knew. That was the feeling that I was like, that's the feeling for me. That was just like forever and ever and ever. And yeah.
It's cool.
And it was cool. And I was also into musical theater. So I'm drawn to a lot of what you do because I understand what you do.
Okay, what was your first show?
My first show that I did, it was probably the only show I did. I was Fagin in Oliver Twist.
I love that show.
In 6th grade. And I was so upset because Mark Silberman, the blonde-haired kid down the street, got to be Oliver. And I was Fagin. And it's amazing what you learn as you grow up. That Fagin was cool.
Yeah.
What a great character.
Yeah.
He had depth. He was a bad guy.
It's a much more challenging role.
I sang with an English accent.
Nice.
I don't know what it sounded like. I was written up. It was a wonderful write-up in the 26th dimension. I went to PS 26.
Okay.
So it's the 26th dimension in Queens. And I'm reviewing the situation. Da, 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 da. And it speeds up.
So
And
cute.
I just was like, I loved it so much. And I never really went more into the musical theater aspect of things. I always enjoyed the old music. I love the standards. I love Sinatra. I love things that are older than we are.
Yeah.
And my father, to this day, is like, you always loved that musical theater stuff. And I just laugh. I'm like, well, how do you remember anything? You know, my defense mechanism. Like, you don't know me.
Yeah.
How did you end up getting involved in musical theater?
Yeah. So the school that I went to was a K through 12. And when I was in 7th grade, well, I should preface it with, like, I had already been doing musical theater adjacent type things. Like, we had shows at school that were choir shows, but they were more musical theater songs, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But specifically, like, very acutely, when I was in 7th grade, and I have a brother who's 2 years younger than me. He was in 5th grade, and we were asked to be in the high school's production of South Pacific to play the little kids because they knew we spoke French. And we're actually siblings, and it was easier to get 2 siblings than it was to get 2 unrelated kids to show up to rehearsal for a high school show. So that was my first show. I did it with my brother, and we had an absolute blast. And you know, this was after having seen my cousin do that production of Guys and Dolls, and I was like, oh, this is my shot. Like, this is my chance to be in a show. And I mean, when I say it saved my life and changed my life simultaneously, it is not an exaggeration.
Wow.
Like, I felt so incredibly at home being at rehearsal, being in a room with the kindest high school students who were so thankful we were there and so sweet to us. And the director of that show, David Compton is his name, and he was working there at the time. He became essentially like my dad.
Really?
He had a very keen eye for, like, recognizing that I maybe wasn't as okay as I was saying I was.
Right. And
he and his wife took me under their wing. And what it turned into is I started doing professional theater shortly after that. Wow. You know, my mom was all in. It was not her idea. It was my idea, and she was driving me to auditions. And
Here in Nashville?
Here in Nashville.
Wow.
And by the time I was 13, I was working as a paid actor.
What were you doing?
The first show that I did, so there used to be a place open in town, and it closed a couple years ago. It was a really, really cool place to cut my teeth and work and make friends. It's called Chaffin's Barn Dinner Theater.
Okay.
And it's one of the few theaters still open in the country that has what they call like a, I can't remember the technical name for it, but the stage lowers down from the ceiling.
Wow.
And you're performing in the round.
Oh, that's so cool.
So there's 4 entrances to the stage, or you ride it down from the ceiling. That was where I did my first professional show. And it was a show that some of David Compton's friends wrote, who now are my friends and people I go to parties with and like have known since I was a really little kid. But I really got tucked into an incredible, kind, compassionate, patient group of adult actors who were unbothered that I was 13, 14, 15, 16 and hanging around at their parties.
Yeah.
And pretending to be a tiny adult and, you know, leaving parties at 9 because I had to be home.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Chaffin's Barn is where I did my first couple of professional shows, and then I started working other places. At the time, Tennessee Repertory Theater was its name. I interned there, did To Kill a Mockingbird in high school. And
So you did dramatic acting as well?
yes.
Did you find it easier or harder than musicals?
It's a totally different ballgame.
Totally is.
I love both. I love a musical so hard. I've done several shows that were not musicals that really just like, there's nothing like it. So since being a kid, I've done shows in New York. I've done shows here. I worked at the Children's Theater. I've worked at the Rep. But at the Children's Theater, I had the gift of working with Scott Copeland. He was a really incredible director, and I really, really just value how much trust he put in me as a really young person. The first season I auditioned there, I was in 3 shows that year.
Wow.
And
how do you memorize all that stuff? That's insane to me.
I don't know. I do have a lightly photographic memory. Like I can, if I've learned lines, I can see on a page where that line is. Huh. You know, the thing I love about theater that's different from music or different from film is that you're in a room with people for 2 weeks. If it's professional theater, you know, it's like 2 weeks, 8-hour days. That's a lot of rehearsal.
Yes.
Even if it's a 2-hour show, that's a lot of rehearsal. It's ample time. But it's ample time to like build a relationship and a character, and within the confines of that show, like that is the only logical thing you could say next. Nothing else could possibly make sense, because if you're emotionally attached to the words, then that's clearly what's coming.
Got it.
And I think, you know, that sounds kind of silly or maybe too like woo-woo. I'm not by any stretch a method actor or a trained actor. Like I trained on the ground.
You listen.
Yeah.
But that's what it's about. I think, I mean, we were talking about this with Anana on the last episode of this here podcast about how listening is the greatest gift.
It really is.
Truly believe that.
Yeah. If you're not listening and doing theater, people can tell.
That's true. If you're not listening in general, people can tell. I mean, I'm yelling at my family members saying, you don't hear me, you know?
Right.
There's a character here. There's a song. I just want to pivot real quick.
Okay.
There's something called Much More that you released from the Fantasticks by Harvey Schmidt. And you put this out in 2021, Celebrate Sensation record. Mm-hmm. And this song, Much More, I didn't know it very well. And the Fantasticks was the longest running show like ever.
Yeah.
But this character, you put this song out, Much More. I'd like for you to tell me what this means to you, because it sort of feels like it resonates for you.
Yeah.
It's a young girl. She grows up. She's doing all the things. She's a dreamer. Mm-hmm. Well, I love this. Instead of reading textbooks, she tried to memorize the moon. That's the greatest line I think I've ever heard in my life.
So this musical is incredible. There's a reason it ran so long.
Yeah.
But I also think a lot of people don't know about it, right? It's kind of like an unsung gem of sorts. And I came to this musical by way of David Compton, who, you know, when I was in high school was like, you should read this, you should read this, you should read this. Like, name a mentor. And like, he fully stepped into that role of like, you like this? Here are all the resources I have to help you succeed. Yeah. It was incredible. And Louisa is the character who sings this song. And ever since I was like 16 years old and encountered this show, I told David, I was like, I want to do this show with you someday. It is top of my bucket list. Yeah. I really wanted to do the show with him playing El Gallo, who is this kind of like suave, slightly dangerous bandit of sorts. Right. It's a really, really cool take on Romeo and Juliet, basically. Yeah. I didn't get the chance to do this show with him. Right. He passed away right after I graduated college and moved back to Nashville. And I performed this song in high school for a talent show, basically, and had him record El Gallo's monologue that introduces the song. Wow. Is that what's on your recording? It's an iPhone recording from 2008.
Oh my goodness. So I listened to this just before we got together today on Spotify, and I cried.
The girl was born. She grew up quickly, went to school, became shy, read romances, studied cloud formations in the lazy afternoon, and instead of reading textbooks, tried to memorize the moon. And when she was 15, she began to notice something strange. Her ugly duckling features had undergone a change. In short, she was growing pretty. For the first time in her whole life, pretty. And the shock so stunned and thrilled her that she became almost immediately incurably insane. Observe.
Perhaps I'm bad or wild or mad, with lots of grief in store. But I want much more than keeping house. Much more.
It's spectacular.
Yeah. So he was an incredible actor. And every time I listen to that, I'm like, man, the way that he is able to deliver these lines with audio only, still to this day kind of blows my mind. Yeah. Because the delivery is so honest. And I think it like haunts me a little bit. Yeah. But I realized, so I released this song on his birthday. Oh, wow. Years after he had passed. But I kind of just had this heartbreaking, sinking feeling of like, I'm never going to get to do this show. I'm a little too old at this point to play a young teenager unless it's the right room or the right reason. You know what I mean? And I was like, okay, how can I make this still happen? How can I still make this real for him and for me? And so I had Brett do a lot of work work on this iPhone recording that I had. Not even an iPhone. It was a laptop at that point. It was, you know, like the original audio quality was really kind of terrible.
Yeah.
And he cleaned it up a bunch and helped me put this together. And it just feels like the biggest gift I can give myself and him in hindsight. You know what I mean? Like we always wanted to do this show together. Yeah. And this was the one shot I had to do it.
Yeah. Well, tell me, so this song, you know, it's about a young girl. She's a dreamer. And then one day she gets pretty. She basically grows up and she's not, quote unquote, an ugly duckling anymore. Yeah. And it stuns her and it shocks her. And then it's the greatest thing I've ever heard. She instantly became incurably insane.
Yeah.
The darkness within the light is something that I feel like you embody.
Yeah.
That you are able to encompass both of these things, which I believe creates this very well-rounded artist that you are.
Well, thank you.
I don't know you at all, but I see you posting about, you know, the Rainbow Connection. You post about you singing the Mr. Rogers theme. You're doing things. You're bringing my childhood to me. And you're bringing safety and you're bringing hope to me. I'm 54 years old and I need you to do what you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you. But the world is not all sunshine and rainbows. And I don't know you at all. But there's more to you than just sunshine and rainbows.
Sure.
And the fact that this song resonates with you, that she goes completely nuts. And part of your repertoire is this balance of just like you give us the syrup, but you also give us the cigarette.
Yeah. Okay. So it's funny that you bring this up. So I've spent the majority of my career doing what I would call like opposites work.
Okay.
In musicals specifically, I find myself either, or in theater specifically, I should say, either playing children or dancing in my underwear. And there is no in between.
Right.
And I don't know. I mean, I know how I got here because, you know, I love a Bob Fosse show and I'm happy to dance in underpants. And I also, from a distance, next to very tall adults, because I'm only 5'2",
right.
I look very little. And so, like, I could play a 12-year-old in a children's theater production. So it has kind of been very true, though, to my life and true to, like, the balance that I feel like I'm constantly trying to strike, which is, like, I need to hear these songs. I need to hear the Mr. Rogers song just as much as anybody else.
Yeah.
Because life isn't easy. Never has been.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be.
Yeah.
And I think I've had conversations with some people where they're like kind of like pissed that I'm able to like see the sun.
Right.
Miffed that I'm able to like sing, put on a happy face and believe it.
Right.
And it's like, well, I didn't come here naively. I'm using this song as a way to believe that that is possible. Like it's a tool for me too.
Yeah.
It's not an escape act.
Yeah.
As much as it is like somebody wrote this song because they also needed to hear it.
Yeah.
And I think when you start to look at these kinds of songs Mr. Rogers sang, like It's You I Like, I am singing it not because I necessarily always believe it about myself, but because we need to be told those things.
Yeah.
I think the expectation that once you hit a certain age that you're going to feel capable or proud or okay is unrealistic.
Yeah.
And these materials that, you know, let us feel okay are valuable to consume.
Yeah.
Because isn't that the point?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we can listen to sad music and it can make us feel a certain way, but why close ourselves off from enjoying something that could be seen as frivolous or silly or magical or special when it could, if you're willing, let you feel the way you felt when you were 6 and you heard that start. Because it is a beautiful day in the neighborhood, even if shit's falling apart.
Yeah. See, that's what we need more of because it's so cool to be dark. It is. It's hip to be dark.
Yeah.
And the fact that you are leaning into the positive stuff while the world is insane is very commendable.
Well, thank you. I mean, I think Anana and I have talked about this a lot actually because we've worked a lot together and especially a lot together on things that are kind of playful and things that are, you know, I think some people could watch it and be like, that is just silly. Like, why did you make that?
Yeah.
And to me, I'm like, why would you not make this? Because retaining a sense of hope and play in the face of tragedy is like the ultimate form of resistance.
Yeah.
And I think depending on who you talk to, they could say like, that's incredibly naive. And I contend that it is incredibly brave.
That's amazing.
Because children are still children.
Yeah.
And our hearts are still hearts. And we have to be able to find joy, even if it is something so small as drawing with sidewalk chalk in the backyard.
Yeah.
Or making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich with too much jelly. Taking those simple joys away from us, that feels devastating.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, the world is really dark.
Yeah.
And it is really hard.
Yeah.
And Anana will tell you this too, like having grown up in a house that was often very challenging, the ways that my mom and the same with her parents found ways to retain some sense of magic for us.
Yeah.
That's the duty of a parent. That's the duty of a human, like to protect the hearts of the people around you, even if it feels in juxtaposition to the world.
Yeah.
Because if we only doom and gloom, we're all going down.
Yeah, you're right.
That boat is sinking.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's incorrect to sing a song that makes you feel good or make a meal that makes you feel good or share a snack with a neighbor. Like it has to be a balance.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're really honest with ourselves if there's ever been a time in history when things are cool, you know?
Well, that's the lie that they're asking us to eat whole,
Right.
which is just this past wonderful time that we need to get back to. The past wonderful time that I would like to get back to is just hearing a song that is sung from 1950. You know, like that.
Sure.
That to me is the past that I appreciate and understand. But living in the present is so hard, and there's so much to be afraid of, and there's so much to be angry about. Just life is difficult.
Yeah.
You are married for how long? Brett is your husband.
He
right?
is. We've been married for 10 and a half years.
10 and a half years. I just celebrated 10 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you. You as well.
Thanks.
You have a 5-year-old.
I have a 3.5-year-old.
3.5. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what?
He's very tall.
He's tall. I see. I can't tell. When I met your boy, and I'm like, he's like either in 7th grade or he's like 2. I can never tell how. I'm just terrible at it.
It's all good.
He's very tall. He's very handsome.
Thank you.
Yep. What is it like for you two? You both work in music. Brett is a phenomenal producer. He does a lot of great stuff, writer and all that.
Yeah.
And you both work together. You work separately.
Yes.
You have a child. You live in Nashville. And the world is the way it is. How do you do it? How do you keep yourselves composed? You basically answered all of this with your art. But how do you do it? Because I'm afraid to put a kid into this world. I just am.
Yeah, I mean, it's a balance. And I think...
Put a kid into this world.
Yeah, I mean,
that doesn't sound right at all.
It doesn't, but it's true. It's a constant conversation around like what is right, what is the best way. And I think those conversations have always happened as long as people have been having children.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I nannied for years and years. Really for friends who were having kids and they knew I had watched someone else's kid. They're like, do you want to come and watch our child? And so I came into having a baby, having watched a lot of little boys for many years.
Wow.
And it's now, you know, hitting me with such severity how trusted I was and how honored I am to have been trusted with their sons, and specifically sons. Like I nannied 3 boys through that like baby and toddler years, and some of them longer than that. It gave me a lot of information about like what's fun, what feels important, what's worth spending time on, what's not worth spending time on, you know, and you acquire more information and then you learn on the job ultimately. Like you just have to get to a certain point and make a choice. Yeah. And I feel really thankful to have had the experience I've had with kids and, you know, to have my family close by to help. And it's hard. It's hard to have a person in the world when it is so dark. And, you know, we have conversations constantly about like, what does school look like? Is that a safe place to even be anymore because of gun violence? Yeah. And that is a really hard conversation to have. Yeah. You know, it's not cut and dry and it's not fast. He's not in school. He's home with me. And
so is he at this age? Would he be?
He would be in preschool if we put him in school. I mean, he wouldn't start kindergarten until he is either turning 6 or turning 7.
Oh, okay.
So we've got a minute before he legally has to like be at a school, but the conversation's ongoing already. Our public schools are, Metro, our public schools are not great in Nashville.
They're not. Our taxes are higher and our schools suck. I'll say
They do. They do.
I grew up in New York City and I went to public school and we walked to school. I mean, I'm quite a bit older than you, but those high taxes, when they're put to education and roads and things like that, it actually is something that we all benefit from.
Totally.
I envy that you're able to be strong with it all this. So what do you think you're going to do?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, even just yesterday we were talking about it again. I was like, he needs friends. He needs to be, you know, in social environments. And then I'm like, but he can't go to public school.
Right. Wow.
Like we know that. We know he can't go to public school. So I'm not sure what'll happen. I feel really, you know, it's really sweet having grown up here and stayed. I have some buddies, some of them from childhood, some of them from a decade and change ago, that we all have kids around the same age and we're all asking the same questions.
That's great.
And we are talking about doing a homeschool group.
That's fantastic.
And, you know, once all the kids are old enough, we each teach a subject and we rotate who's at everybody's house. And I'm like, that feels like an option.
Yeah.
It feels sustainable. It feels like community. It feels like it upholds the values that we find important, which are like having access to creative people, being able to follow what you love, not being put in danger.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like basic safety things, but also like how to exit our house as a well-rounded, well-educated, kind, compassionate, safe individual.
Yeah.
I have a 4-year degree, but I'm not the smartest person in the room. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a teacher.
What did you get your degree in?
History.
History. Where'd you go to school?
I transferred so many times. Started school at NYU.
Really? Wow.
And in theater.
Big deal.
Yeah.
Look at you.
I was like, I'm going, no questions asked. And then I got there and I was like, this isn't for me.
Wow.
Because, well, I like musicals and they tried to tell me I don't.
Oh.
And I'm
So New York, you know?
Yeah.
Put on that black outfit. We're wearing black. We don't like to sing. We just move fast.
And I was like, guys, I hate to tell you this, but I actually do know who I am. And I do know what I love.
Wow.
And this isn't it. I actually went to the dean and I was like, I've been put in the wrong program. Wow. You misplaced me. I need to be in this other program. And they were like, no, we know who you are, right?
Wow.
And I was like, I remember even at 18 being like, oh, they're wrong. I know what I love and I know what feels good. And I had spent, I had already been working. And so I had this taste of like, well, I know what it feels like to be a paid actor.
Were you equity or SAG?
I was equity when I was 20. I took my equity card at 20.
Right.
So that was after I left NYU
Right.
and came back to Nashville. And the deal my parents made me was like, get a degree. We don't care what it's in, but you have to have a degree.
Smart.
And I was like, fine. How can I get out as quick as possible?
Yeah.
So I ended up, long story short, at MTSU. Shout out to MTSU. What a dream you guys were. I walked in and I was like, here's the credits I have.
Right.
What will you take? And they were like, we'll take them all.
That's great.
We'll find a spot for everything you have paid to do.
Wow.
And then I was like, okay, given that, what degree can I get that gets me out of here? Lickety split, guys.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
want out. And they were like, history or English. Perfect. And so I worked full time doing theater and doing college simultaneously.
Wow.
Graduated from MTSU. I have a history degree. I think my specialty is like in something I'm not interested in, like U.S. military topics.
Oh, we need you now.
Yeah.
We need you now more than ever there, Rosemary
I wrote
Fossee.
my graduation paper on World War II, Weimar, Germany.
Oh.
Those were my focuses because
Mine too.
musical theater led me to cabaret. Theater gave me a deep and really reverent appreciation for all of the experiences around the Holocaust.
Yes.
I'm sure I used words that I didn't mean to use just then, but I think you know what
No,
I mean.
absolutely.
I had the honor of playing Anne Frank.
Wow, you do look like Anne Frank. Wow, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed. Everything. It's like my night in is a sad night watching anything about the Holocaust,
Yeah.
eating the entire pizza and the whole pint of ice cream. I've watched everything, and I appreciate it so very, very, very much.
I'm very I'm aware of the fact that it is not my story to tell, but in a theatrical way, having been cast in that show, I was like, oh my gosh, this is important. This may be the most important piece of theater I ever do, right? Especially because it was being performed for children.
It wasn't a musical, was it?
No.
I was gonna
And
say,
then I did
wow.
and then I did a production of Number of the Stars.
Okay.
Do you know that?
I don't.
It's another Holocaust story. And I, again, played a young Jewish girl. And the more pieces I've done about the Holocaust or about being Jewish, even though I am not Jewish,
Right.
I was like, this is very important.
Yeah.
And deserving of reverence. So that ultimately is what I spent the majority of my college time that I was studying history focused on, and obviously cabaret is a much more campy take on the experience that led into those other horrifying experiences. But even in that show, doing research for those shows, I was like, oh, this is so very interesting to me, especially in juxtaposition to what was happening in the States at the time,
Yeah.
especially during Weimar Germany.
Yeah.
It was a totally different experience. Prohibition was occurring at the, around the same time.
Yeah.
Just one world, completely different experiences simultaneously. And that is very interesting to me because I think it's true to life.
Yeah.
Heartbreak, horror, and partying
Right.
happening
At the same time,
at the same time.
like you just said, in order to be a well-rounded artist.
Right.
That's what it's all about, to
Right.
be able to absorb all
It's the
these
human
things.
experience.
It is the human experience, which is great. So part of this human experience is that you are an artist and a mother.
Yeah.
You're also a wife,
Yes.
a partner.
Yeah.
What is that like? Because I've recently been fortunate enough to have been performing with moms, new moms. And I'm also perform with moms that aren't new moms.
Yeah.
Rachel Rodriguez a dear friend.
Yes.
And she's got a couple of kids. I
She
mean, they're
does.
getting older, man. She's like tears every time I see her. She's ready to cry because, they're just getting older. And some other friends, Sarah Eiley, who just had a baby, and we did a show together
I know.
a month ago.
I'm proud of her.
We did a show, and I said, Sarah Eiley, we can postpone this show. You are weeks into being a brand new mom. And she just was like, no, I'm good. And she has community. Both sets of her parents moved to the area.
That's incredible.
Yep. I just cleared my day. I said, okay, we're going to rehearse our show. And it was called Let's Duet. And it was Valentine's Day. It was sort of Sinatra, Ella. We did duets of that era of
That's
music.
so cute. Yeah.
We brought it all together and we thought, this is special. Let's work it. But hey, you just had a kid. I can go home and we can do this
Another time. Yeah.
Nope. So I just cleared my day. And part of the day was just like, okay, we're going to take a break. And she's nursing.
Yeah.
And we're working on lines. And her husband, Matthew Slahekta, is in and out, doing his musical things. And I just thought, I could never do any of this. What you are able to do, you moms out there,
You can do it.
you're amazing. And
Well-
and it's incredible. You do it all and you do it with such grace. And you're not doing it with all of the accoutrements of like a lot of nannying and
Right.
ton of money to throw around.
Totally. Yeah.
And hands off kind of thing. Like, here's my baby. We're going to take the photo op because I'm going to go sing my show. And now you can see me on People magazine with my baby. I'm a fantastic mom and I'm a wonderful artist. They don't see that you hand off that baby to a nanny and you don't see that baby for the next 6 hours.
Right.
I'm not talking down about people having what they have. God bless. If you got it, go with it.
Totally.
But my experience these days dealing with some of the mom friends of mine astound me because I am so impressed by how do you do it? How do you keep your head together? Really?
Yeah.
How do you say I'm an artist and I'm going to continue to be an artist when you now have a child?
It's hard. It's very hard. And I think anybody who says it's not hard is either really affluent or lying.
Yeah. Affluent. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you.
But, it's not easy. And I think every couple months I'm like, what am I doing? Why am I still trying to do this?
Which, the art part?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it would be so much easier to just not. Mm-hmm. But then there's this part of you, that 8-year-old part of me that was like, this is for me,
Yeah.
right? That starts to nag at you and feels really sad and like you're abandoning yourself if you don't. So like, I saw that Sarah was doing the show with you and I was like, man, good for her. I wish I had gotten back on the horse faster. In hindsight, I wish I had just said yes to all the help available to me and tried to do something sooner, and I didn't.
Right.
I waited. And I didn't wait that long. Like the first show I did after having Elliot, he was a year old.
Okay.
So that's not that long, right? And it was really hard for me. Like it was 2-hour solo set. And I put it on the books to make myself do it.
Wow.
Not because someone asked, not because I needed to, but because I was like, dude, you have got to do the thing.
Yeah.
Like if you don't, it's going to stop. It's going to fizzle out. It's not going to still be part of your life. And so, yeah, Elliot was about a year old and I called Irakali, Anana's husband, and my friend Anson, who's a drummer, and Chris, who's a bassist and a pianist from Skulls. And I was like, guys, I need your help. I want to put together a show.
Yeah.
It's going to be long. It's going to be a little tricky. I haven't sung in a year, but we have to do this.
Yeah.
And Irakali, of course, I've known him for 7 years. And he was like, oh, we're doing this.
Yeah.
And I was like, thank you.
What was the show?
I have a one-woman jazz musical theater situation that I do called Playmate Playdate.
Right on.
That kind of encompasses all the work I've done where it's like I'm playing kids, I'm playing adults in underpants. So it's like playing with both worlds.
Yeah.
And I've done the show a couple of times in a couple different venues. And a lot of the songs I did for that show, I do at Skulls now. But it's just stuff I love.
Yeah.
It's just stuff that makes me feel good to sing and that I haven't had an opportunity to do elsewhere.
Yeah.
And I think I kind of tiptoed into doing more music during COVID
Right.
than theater, mainly because some of the people that I was very close to in theater or working for in theater passed away before COVID or around that time. And I realized pretty quickly, like when you are directly associated with someone who has passed away, who ran a theater for years, sometimes the new people at that theater are like, you're their actor.
Oh.
We are good. We're going
Yeah.
to get our people in here.
Sure.
And so there was a season of time where I was, and that's part of being an actor is being told no. And that's kosher. Like I'm cool with that. I've heard a lot of no and that's okay.
Yeah.
But there was so much no that I was like, I'm going to take a break
Yeah.
for a minute and I'm going to do music because
Yeah.
it's feeling really fun right now and it's feeling really good. And so that was kind of a gift with having Elliot, is like I didn't have to wait for the yes for auditions. I didn't have to go to auditions. I could do music.
Yeah.
And I could make my own thing for a minute. That has shifted now, and I'm excited to be doing theater again and doing both, because both are very much a part of who I am and what I value and what feels right for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, momming and doing anything in the arts is like, it feels like having to plan for an international trip where you only get to take one bag. Like, it's just very, very like, what could I possibly need? What could possibly go wrong? How do I keep that from going wrong? What if my babysitter can't make it? What if Brett books a session?
Yeah.
What if my mom gets stuck in traffic and I need to be at rehearsal? Like, all the things that we're all thinking about, but when you add a child into the mix, and a child who's not in childcare,
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
it's like, when will I do this?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We're just going to make it work. So I got a call like back in January. I got a phone call from a really, really dear friend of mine named Brian Hull, who I've known since I was a kid and done a bunch of work with. And he's just so wonderful and so sweet. I met him working at the downtown library. He ran the puppet department there
Wow.
for years. And got a phone call from him, and he was like, okay, long shot. It's tech week. Somebody has the flu. You want to do a show?
Wow. In January. And
And it was a workshop of a new musical. And I was like, give me an hour. Let me see what I can figure out.
Wow.
I was like, yes.
yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. And then I started making phone calls.
Yeah.
I'm very fortunate, kind of like Sarah, to have so much family close by.
Yep.
And so many friends who also have kids, who we kind of have like an open rotation of like, can you take my kid for a couple of hours? I'll take your kid for a couple of hours that day. I put in all the calls. And like Elliot was with my aunt and my mom and my friends and with Brett, like for a week, basically.
Amazing. What was the show?
It's a new musical that's getting workshopped.
Okay.
I don't know how much of this I'm allowed to
No,
share.
it's okay.
But
It's a new musical.
It's a new musical that's getting workshopped that is really cool, and I'm like thankful to be involved in it. And the reason it's particularly cool is I showed up to rehearsal knowing Brian was a part of it, obviously, because he had called me, but then come to find out like all of my friends who I cut my teeth working with out at Chaffin's Barn were working on the show.
Wow.
And some of them I hadn't seen in like 10 years, right?
Right.
And I was like, oh my gosh, this is like old home week. It was the safest room to walk back into after taking such a giant hiatus between COVID and having a baby. I was like, man, this is the room I wanted to be in.
Yeah.
This room where everybody is just like, thank you for being here.
Yeah. That's
It
fabulous.
felt really cool.
Yeah. I'm so happy you brought up Brian Hull, because you have something that you put out called Love Makes the World Go Round from
Yes.
Carnival.
Yes.
A show in 1961. And it was a beautiful musical. Book was by Michael Stewart and the music and lyrics by Bob Merrill. You put together a video, and it was using puppets.
Yes.
You were Lily from the show, and our dear friend Anana Kay was Carrot Top, right?
Brett voiced the walrus.
He voiced the walrus.
Yes, Brian operated the puppets.
Got it.
But Brian is a very talented, like, multimedia artist. Like,
Yeah.
he can do anything, and he will tell you that it's not true, but it is true.
Yeah.
So that show came to me actually because of Brian. So years ago, I was, I don't know, 13, 14. I walked into the library with my uncle, actually, to donate a puppet.
Donate a puppet.
Yes. So,
It's a puppet that you had already.
do you know who Tom Titchener is?
I do not.
Tom Titchener is a Nashvilleian who was a puppeteer, famous puppeteer. And he went to Hume Fogg with Betty Page. Like, he has deep Nashville roots. Anyway, he was like a very famous puppeteer, puppet builder. And he built puppets for the musical Carnival on Broadway.
Wow.
The strange, unique thing is our downtown library was the recipient of all of his puppet collection upon his passing.
Whoa.
Not exclusively all of them, but a lot of them. And so they have these original puppets from Carnival. But for whatever reason, I can't remember the exact story, but my uncle had a Titchener puppet.
Wow.
That he wanted to donate to the library to add to their collection because they have puppet storage. We're getting into the nitty gritty, and people are always like, wow, you know so much about puppets. I'm like, I don't really, but I know more than other people
You
know
know more
about
than
puppets.
I do, that's for sure.
So our library has an entire room dedicated to like proper storage of marionettes and hand puppets and stick and rod puppets so that they don't deteriorate over time.
That is
So
a
they're taken care of.
That's a no smoking area.
Right. So my uncle goes to donate this puppet, and I'm standing talking to Brian and my uncle in the lobby of the puppet theater. And there's a picture of Anna Maria Alberghetti, who is the original Lily in Carnival.
Yeah.
And Brian was like, you look just like her.
Wow.
And I do look a lot like her.
Yeah.
And he was like, are you an actor? And I said, I am. And he was like, wonderful. Do you want to be in our production of Alice in Wonderland?
Wow.
Like, it was that quick.
Yeah.
They were looking for a young woman to play Alice in their production of Alice in Wonderland. That turned into me working with Brian and Mary Bailey, who's Brian's wife now, for years. I mean, I worked with them for years. And the most magical thing about working with them, they gave me a gift I had not been given before, which was what it feels like to walk into a room and be completely trusted.
Wow.
And I mean, no questions asked. You can do it. Here's this brand new thing you've never seen, done, heard before. You can do it. And being given that gift by them made me a much stronger performer.
Yeah.
Because I was like, you know what? I can.
Yes.
Like, I'm capable. And if I can't do it right today, I'll try again tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that's okay to try.
Yeah.
So I've ended up doing substitute jobs for them. I've ended up working the 2-hour puppet show that goes to the Country Music Hall of Fame with them.
Wow.
Like, just wild stuff. The
Yeah.
last show I did with them, I was pregnant with Elliot and hadn't told anybody. And I was like, this might be my last puppet show. I'm not going to say no. Meanwhile, I'm like standing behind the puppet set, like twisting my body strange ways so that my belly wasn't like pressing into the wall or whatever while I'm operating puppets. But long story super short, the Carnival puppets. There's a song in that show called Love Makes the World Go Round. And it's so sweet and so wholesome and so wonderful. And the irony of that song in the context of that show is very dark.
Right.
Like, it didn't do well. It was ahead of its time in the topics it was trying to address. It was trying to address mental illness. It was trying to address the mental instability of a young female who's maybe seeing things that aren't there or having experiences that she can't explain. And I've always loved that show and got a chance to actually perform a portion of it with Brian and my friend Galen Fott for the International Puppet Festival 2016. I'd had experience doing that song and it felt like a perfect companion piece to much more as far as celebrating David and getting to bring in Brian, who also worked with David, and just a great way to honor him. And
well, the message is so beautiful. You put out just a little portion of that song, and it was just so great. It was a friend that needed to be cheered up. He was a little blue, and you guys came to your friend's aid. And what about you, Lily? You were asked, if you could have anything you wanted, anything in the whole wide world, what would you ask for? Your friends are asking you. Carrot Top and the Walrus, right? And Carrot Top, your dear friend, thinks that you'd like someday to have the feeling that you are loved, that somebody in this world cares what happens to you. And both Walrus and Carrot Top said, we care about you, Lily. I love that you did this, and I love that you put it out.
thank you.
You really helped make my days a whole lot brighter.
I'm glad.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks.
you.
I have a few questions, a speed round. You ready?
Okay, yeah.
This has been a really cool interview. What fascinates you, Rosemary Fossee?
I think the thing that fascinates me is people who are able to continue to follow what they love in the face of tragedy and horror.
Yeah.
And to do it with grace and patience.
Perfect. What angers you? What pisses you off? I'd like to see Rosemary Fossee angry, I think. Just not at me.
The thing that pisses me off more than anything is people who treat children like they're stupid. They are the most valuable part of our world, and they deserve respect.
Does Elliot love what you do?
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Does he understand what you're doing?
Sometimes, yes. Sometimes he's like, what are you doing today? Because what I'm doing changes.
Yeah.
He definitely understands this. I had a rehearsal a couple weeks ago with Jay Vern, who plays piano with me at Skulls. And like 2 days later, I was leaving to go to the show. And Elliot goes, I'm coming with you. And goes to his room and gets his toy piano and picks it up and starts to walk to the door with me. Like he was going to play the show.
Absolutely.
Because he rehearses with me. Like my 3.5-year-old knows all the words to Orange Colored Sky.
Wow.
And it's very valuable to me that he feels comfortable enough to be like, well, I'm coming. He's seen my show. He's been to Skulls repeatedly to see me sing. And that's also a gift, you know, that they're okay with having a toddler in there until a certain time. So he totally understands. And, you know, I'm thankful that Brett gives me the patience and the time to follow that and also to include Elliot in it.
Yeah.
Because that's a totally different kind of music than he does.
Yeah.
It's a totally different world than he is making with music. And, you know, the same is true of Brett. Like, we go out to the studio and Elliot will go into the booth and play drums. We caught him the other day singing into a microphone out there going, I love music. I love music.
Wow.
I love music. And I'm like, well, one way or another,
Yeah.
this kid is getting the exposure of a lifetime
Yeah.
from all different angles of, like, he came to the theater rehearsal with me.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
everyone was like, we're so glad he's here.
Yeah.
And he had the best time.
That's
I
awesome.
think he gets it as much as a person
Yeah.
can. He knows it's an option for him.
Oh, that's
I
good.
asked him the other day for the first time, I was like, what do you like to do? And he was like, I like to sing. And I said, what do you think you might be interested in doing when you're older? And he was like, I'm going to be a singer. And I was like, okay,
Yeah.
that sounds cool. You're allowed to change your mind. And then he goes, I definitely don't want to go to space. And I was like, me either, buddy.
You folks really know who you are. What a beautiful family. All right. You kind of answered it. What brings you joy?
I really like hanging out with Elliot. I like hanging out with little kids.
Yeah.
And I like being on stage. I think those are the top two.
Yeah.
There's just a feeling you have when you're doing something that feels right. You're not thinking about it.
Yeah.
You're just in the flow, and it feels very like, I don't know, for lack of a less spiritual way to put it, like you're channeling something greater.
Yeah.
And those are the 2 times when I feel that.
That's
You know?
beautiful. Yeah.
Like I specifically think about like sitting in my backyard in the sunshine, blowing bubbles and seeing Elliot smile as the bubble like floats towards his face.
Yeah.
And like there's nothing quite so special. There's a song that I do at Skulls that feels like a weird, funny little lie every time I sing it. And you may know the song. It's from My Fair Lady, On the Street Where You Live.
Of course. Yeah.
So
I
the
love that
line
song.
that's like, for there's nowhere else on earth that I would rather be. I'm like, it's true and it's not true every time I sing it.
Yeah.
Because I want to be there and I want to be with my son. And it's like, I don't know that I've ever encountered such a clean split on it feeling true and untrue all at the same time.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I do want to be here, but I also want to be there. But to have 2 places you want to be so badly, I'm thankful to even have one.
That's true. It's beautiful. If you had a magic wand and you could change anything, fix it to your liking, what would it be?
That's a tricky one. It's hard not to say something falsely altruistic because, you know, if you only get one wish. But I think I wish for ease for parents, whatever that means. Financial, time, resources, ability to follow something you love without wondering if it's going to negatively impact your kid. Ease.
Perfect.
For everyone.
Yeah.
You know, I think we are in a position where we don't have a lot of that
That is true.
right now
Yeah.
in the world. And maybe we haven't ever, but I think things are particularly uneasy right now.
Yeah. You just saying this is reminding me of a conversation I had yesterday with my wife. Just some ease, you know, just a little relief.
Yeah.
Why are we so anxious about everything all the time? And that's an easy answer, really, because this, that. But, you know, that grace of ease and grace of space and grace of grace.
Totally. Well, I think it's brought me to this question that I keep asking myself, and maybe it will be helpful to you too. What am I participating in that is keeping me from ease?
Yeah.
And for me, the answer is I have too much information. And I think about times when things were easy. And I'm not trying to be 6 again. I'm
No.
not saying that we should be.
No.
But I think about when times were easier. And they were easier because I had less information.
Right.
I think we're in a situation right now where the information available to us, the amount is so high.
Yeah.
And it keeps us so full, so out of the present moment. And I've had challenging conversations around this because I think, again, it's one of those like, how could you be so naive? And then I'm like, how could I not be so present when something, information that is not pertinent to me right this second is taking me away from the fact that my kid needs me to help him put pants on, but I need to know about something devastating.
Yeah.
Like that is a really hard one for me because it's obviously important that something devastating is happening.
Yeah.
But is it more important than my kid needing me to help him put pants on? Like,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think depending on who you are, your answer changes. But for me, I'm currently like, how can I reduce the amount of information keeping me from being the best I can be in my life, in my situation, to the people around me, to my immediate community? Because it starts there.
That's right. Yeah.
If we aren't good to our people, if we aren't good to our neighbors, if we aren't good to our coworkers and our community,
What do we have?
right.
That's perfect. All right. Last question.
'Kay.
Big deal now. Toilet paper over or under?
I don't care. I put it on however it comes out of my hand.
My goodness. You are a better person than most.
I'm not. I'm just, it's one of those things I've learned to let go.
Really? Good for you.
I just can't be bothered, man.
See, I go into people's houses and change the damn thing.
What's
'cause
your
I'm
preference? An over?
Yeah. What am
Yeah.
I, out of my mind?
I dated someone that had really strong opinions about it. And that's the first time I even learned people had opinions about it. And I was like, people care?
Yeah. Some of us do. Well, Rosemary Fossee, I'm so happy that you really don't sweat the smallest stuff, but you sweat.
know.
You sweat it at your own pace, in your own time.
I'm trying.
You are, but that's the point. You are trying. And the best part about it all is what I've learned today is that you know who you are.
I do. Yeah.
And that is a gift that I hope that Elliot understands for himself and that you and Brett walk through life together, being the community that you are for each other and for all of us. I know you from the internet. And so the information I get from you is that it's going to be okay.
I think so.
And thank you for that.
Thank you.
Where can we find you? Give us the commercial for Rosemary Fossee.
Sure. Right now, I am at Skull's Rainbow Room a couple of times a month. And if you check my Instagram, you'll know when that is.
Right.
You can find me on Instagram. I'm there more than anywhere else on the internet or on Facebook.
Is it just at Rosemary Fossee?
At Rosemary Fossee. And if you're a musical theater person, I'm Fossee with 2 E's, not just one. I have some things on YouTube. You can find them there.
Yeah.
More on YouTube than anywhere else.
Perfect. Rosemary Fossee, an artist extraordinaire. You are a singer, a songwriter. You are an actor. You are a theater genius. I'm going to call it that.
Wow. Well, thank you.
You have a lifetime of experience. So to me, that's genius.
Thank you.
Also because I've seen some of your work on the internet and it's fabulous. Thank you for being.
I appreciate it.
I really appreciate your time. Thanks for being on the Just Keep Talking podcast with me, Brother Love, because your story matters.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And until next time, we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
A biento.
What about you, Lily? If you could have anything you wanted, anything in the whole world, what would you ask for? I really don't know. I think I know, Lily. I think you'd like someday to have the feeling that you're loved, that somebody in this world cares what happens to you.
I care, Lily.
And I care too, Lily. Very, very much.
Oh, it's just too beautiful. I could die of happiness.
Love makes the world go round, go round. Love makes the world go round. Love makes the world go round. Somebody soon will love you.
You can personally support this show simply by clicking the tip link in the show notes. The Just Keep Talking podcast is now available on all podcast platforms. Please like, share, and subscribe. Visit our website at justkeeptalking.com, our YouTube channel at Just Keep Talking Podcast, and Instagram at The Just Keep Talking Podcast. We all just want to be seen, to be heard, and to belong. Thank you so much for supporting my mission and the Just Keep Talking Podcast with me, Brother Love, because your story matters.